Do you want to know the top 5 morphs that you might want to get into as an intermediate level keeper? Then come along in this video because we're going to go through them. So actually guys, you get a 2-for-1 for our number 5 top most intermediate level leopard gecko morph. As you can see in my hands right here are 2 super snow leopard geckos. These took the number 1 slot on our last video, leopard gecko morphs for beginners, but in this video I show you a little combination that takes these leopard geckos to the next level. In my left hand right here, we have the super snow combined with the albino gene. Now, as you can see, when combined with the albino gene, it gives the super snow a very nice caramel coloration. And the pattern is kind of like a stripe-like effect. Really, really cool. As you can see with the normal super snow, you're gonna have pattern going all the way to the tips of the nose, down most of the legs, all the way to the tip of the tail. But look at that beautiful animal. Classic super snow eyes, they're filled in all black. Even though this is an albino, remember all black eyes are a trait of the super snow leopard gecko. So you can see this little one's eyes are all shaded in black, even though it's an albino. Now, just to show you the difference, this one is not an albino, but it is an eclipse. And if you look at the tip of the nose, it is white on the tip of the nose. The legs are far more white than the last super snow version. Even the tip of the tail is fairly white for this leopard gecko. So that's what happens when you put the eclipse gene into the super snow, is it will reduce the pattern around the nose, the feet and the legs, as well as the tip of the tail. So a lot of people really like that because they started working a project called the piebald trait. The piebald trait is where people combine animals that have higher amounts of white on the nose/head area, the feet, upper arms area, as well as the tail area, and they start reducing all of the spotting on the leopard gecko until it almost has no spotting sometimes. So it's a combination of line breeding and Mendelian breeding when you're talking about the piebald super snow eclipse leopard gecko. Coming in at number 4 is, drum roll please, the Diablo blanco. That literally means white devil. And the reason they are called that is because the Diablo blanco is a combination of the eclipse gene, the blizzard gene, and the Tremper albino gene. So breaking this animal down, it is much whiter and much cleaner than your typical blizzard looks. And the reason for that is because of the albino gene. So when you combine albino and blizzard, it creates a much more whiter/pinkish white sometimes leopard gecko. And you just got a quick flash of it right there. He opened his eyes and it was kind of red. The red coloration of the eye is caused by the albino gene combined with the eclipse gene. Because remember, one of the effects of the eclipse gene is that it creates shading in the eye. Either partial shading, half shading of the eye, or full shading of the eye. And in this case, this guy has 2 fully solid red eyes. But of course he doesn't want to show them right now. And we won't be rude to him and try to get him to open his eyes, but he is a very beautiful leopard gecko. Diablo Blanco. All right, and for my number 3 slot, I am putting in the bold stripe leopard gecko. What the bold stripe leopard gecko is it is a selectively line-bred trait where over the years, breeders have taken geckos that had some lion-like appearances and kept breeding them to each other over and over and over again until you get almost this perfectly lined animal, which is pretty cool. Some expressions of this trait go even into the tail nowadays, where you can have striping down the side, all the way down the tail, and down one side and all the way down the tail. And a pretty cool combination that this might make with a new and upcoming leopard gecko is John Scarborough's Cipher gene, because the Cipher gene creates a stripe down the middle and a stripe down the middle of the tail. So the middle of the back and the middle of the tail. Whereas with the bold stripe, you can see the back is completely clean. So what if this had an extra stripe in it down the back and an extra stripe down the tail? Might look pretty cool. And I bet you he might be working on something similar to that right now. This one just has a really cool omega or horseshoe-like pattern on her head. She is one of our female breeders here. And for whatever reason, a lot of the cleanest and nicest bold stripes also have a very high yellow coloration. And that is probably just from selectively breeding over the years the best of the best geckos to each other. Therefore, bold stripes tend to have very nice bright yellow coloration. So even when I breed this girl to a non-bold stripe, which I have already done, the babies either come out bold stripe with nice color or not bold stripe, but still very nice color. Beautiful, beautiful leopard gecko. All right, guys, number 2, one of my favorite leopard geckos. Ta-da! The white and yellow. I mean, look at this beautiful, beautiful man right here. It's probably the only time you'll hear me say beautiful man, but this is one of our white and yellow breeder boys. You can see the white and yellow, just like its name, has very high contrasts of bright white and bright yellow going through the gecko. In addition to that, the reason it makes such a good gene is because if you breed it to any other color leopard gecko, such as the Tangerine, it will also increase the brightness of the Tangerine colors itself. This leopard gecko has yellow, whites, oranges, and even greens. I know the camera's picking that up because I can see it, but can you see the greens in this guy? I mean, look at his head. It's like a lime green color. And so when you have the white and yellow gene inside of a leopard gecko, it just makes any colored leopard gecko look that much cleaner and better. And this is Zeus because he used to be like a bolt of lightning when I first got him shooting out of my hand. But now, as you can see, he's very, very calm. He's a big, chill boy. He only chooses to breed with one girl a year, so that's why his genetics are getting passed on a little slower. But thankfully, we did get a son from him, and that son will breed to anything. I couldn't help myself, guys. Here's a bonus shot of the son of that last leopard gecko Zeus. You can see extremely bright yellow color, clean and crisp white sides and white coloration throughout the gecko. It's a little tough to tell, but this one was bred to that bold stripe that I showed in our slot number 3. She also had really nice yellow color, so you can see this gecko just came out beautifully, beautifully bright and yellow, but it also inherited the stripes, which are fading out a little bit now with adulthood. But when this gecko was born, it was a pink color. It was so cool. A pink color, and both of those stripes were clearly visible. We actually used this guy in our white and yellow bold stripe breeding project, and we're creating some bold stripes and white and yellow bold stripes that have very nice contrast and color this year. So again, no problems with breeding this guy. He will breed to as many females as we put him to. There you can see the extra high white that almost rides completely into the top of the back of the leopard gecko. And that is a trait of the white and yellow gene. High whites, high yellow, high coloration, all in general. But Frank, what is number 1? You know I can't help myself. The Tangerine leopard gecko. So I will show you a few examples of Tangerine, but the Tangerine leopard gecko is just a good classic leopard gecko to get into. If you did not get into it as a beginner, then you definitely want to get into it as an intermediate level keeper because it is so popular in the hobby and has so many different combinations that you could put with it. I mean, look how cool this leopard gecko looks. To me, it's just like a little Charmander. You know, I love Pokemon. I grew up loving Pokemon on Generation 1. So if that doesn't date myself, then I don't know what does. But Pokemon was awesome. Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard. These Tangerine leopard geckos just really remind me of that. Especially when they have a hypo look with no pattern on the back. So some people like pattern and contrast, and that's really cool. Other people just like the clear back look, and that's also really cool. Look at that face. Look at that little orange fire, red dragon face right there. Now you know I'm going to have to show you a couple examples, right? I can't just leave you with one. Here is the brother to that last leopard gecko I was just showing. As you can see, pretty cool dark and bright orange colors that come around the head. The last one was not albino. This one is albino. Albino tangerine leopard geckos tend to be brighter in person. But on camera, it's a little bit difficult to tell. You be the judge and let me know. But between this leopard gecko and the last one that I showed, this one is actually brighter when you see him in person. And so he is the one that we bred to most of our tangerine female leopard geckos. Look at that color and contrast. And as you can see, this guy, he does have some pattern on his back. And the pattern over time starts out kind of like tannish brown as babies, since this is an albino. And then it kind of turns whitish as a juvenile. And then into adulthood, it kind of fills around with a little bit of grayish, purplish spotting. A whole bunch of nice little coloration tones going on in this gecko. So take a look at this one, guys. This one was not old enough to breed this year, so that's why we were not able to breed him to any of our females, but he's kind of like a combination of the first two. The first tangerine we showed was not an albino, and so it still had black coloration to it, and that's why it had a little bit of a darker orange appearance. The second one we showed was albino, so it didn't have any black, but it's hard for the camera to pick up just how bright the leopard gecko is unless you see it in person. This leopard gecko, on the other hand, is so bright that even the camera is picking up its deep, bright orange hues, but it's kind of like a combination of the first two. And it is a male, so we will be breeding this guy next year to a lot of our females. But you can see he has that really nice, clean hypo back that gives him that Charmander look. He has more reddish color on his face than any of our other tangerine leopard geckos. You can see that reddish color. And he's just a really clean looking overall nice gecko. Nice carrot tail extending deep into the tail. So we're going to continue to line breed our tangerines so that every single year we get better and better and better quality tangerines to keep putting into our collection. We are going to do one more just because I love this girl so much. This is another tangerine leopard gecko we have. It is a female that was producing for us this year. Because it is not albino, you can see black color on the tail, and you can see that the camera picks up more of that deep orange tone. What's really special about this gecko, and it shows up more in person, but you can see it a little bit here, there are two reddish lines that straddle the middle stripe of this leopard gecko's back. When she was born, she was our brightest and most orangey red leopard gecko to date. You know, color tends to fade out a little with time, and she is over a year old now. And she went into breeding season just recently, so you know that tends to fade out their colors a little bit. As an adult, she's still holding her color really, really well, and so that is a good sign to pass on her genetics. She was probably the #1 female that I was most excited to produce babies with this year, but unfortunately she laid about 11 eggs. Only 3 of them were good. 1 of those babies died, and 2 of the babies are still alive, and we incubated them to be males so that hopefully we can pass on her bright orangey red color to males to breed into our collection. So now that we're a little closer, you can kind of see all the colors on her. Because she's not albino, those oranges on her cheek appear much more reddish in coloration. You can kind of see those red stripes straddling down that middle clear band of her back. She definitely has some red tonage to her. When you see something you like in leopard geckos, you want to breed it to other leopard geckos that are similar so that you can continue to enhance those features that you like. Which is why we'll probably put her with her son next year, this guy, who, as you can see, has very nice reddish orange features on his face, and just throughout his body in general has a few red tonage locations, but mainly on his face, compared to her, which has red tones going down her back. So red is a tough color to reproduce in leopard geckos, but when you see it randomly or spontaneously pop up in your Tangerine collection or any leopard gecko collection, definitely keep an eye on it and try to breed it to other leopard geckos that have similar features. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. You made a very nice video. Well, okay guys, that wraps up video number 2 in our series of top 5 best leopard gecko morphs. What did you think about the video? Did you like the selections that I made? Please let me know in a comment below. Also, if you like this channel, give the video a like, subscribe, and ring our notification bell so that you can see when we go live every Monday and spontaneously throughout the week and whenever we drop a new video. I thank you guys so much for your love and support. We are growing very rapidly, and that is because of you guys, and for that, I am very thankful. So thank you guys very much. I will see you in the next video, and what am I gonna say? Have a geeky gecko great day.
You give the light that shines so bright. You gave life to